What the happened in Super Bowl 40? Led by Matt Hasselbeck, the Seattle Seahawks sported the league's scoringest offense, featuring MVP Shaun Alexander facing off against second-year QB Ben Roethlisberger, leading a balanced Pittsburgh team with tons of weapons and a stout defense. Hasselbeck and the Seahawks received the kickoff. It started with a throw to the flat to Darrell Jackson, where he was quickly tackled before going back to him again, this time for a quick first down. Alexander got the ball next, taking it outside for a good gain of 8 before getting tripped up, and then another throw to Jackson on an out route got them another conversion. Alexander caught a toss next, following blockers to the perimeter, but only picked up one, before Hasselbeck dropped back and threw it over Jackson's head incomplete. On 3rd and 9, Hasselbeck dropped back again, trying to step up into the pocket, but Clark Haggans pushed up the middle, bringing him down, and Pittsburgh would force Seattle to punt away their first drive from midfield. Their offense started by getting backed up by a false start, and they weren't able to make up for it on 1st and 15 as Willie Parker got stuffed, and on 2nd they tried to set up a screen to him that also went nowhere, and 3rd and 14 got turned into 3rd and 19 after another false start, where Roethlisberger tried scrambling up the middle, but only got halfway there before sliding down, and the Steelers would be punting away their first possession after a drive full of miscues. Max Strong took a toss to the outside for the Seahawks next, but was tripped up for no gain before Hasselbeck pump faked to him, climbed in the pocket, and slid down after picking up 9 on the scramble, and on 3rd and 1, they faked it to Alexander, and Hasselbeck slung it to Jackson on a curl well past the sticks to get them into Pittsburgh territory. They tried setting up a screen for Alexander next, but the back fell to the ground hauling the throw in, losing them a few, before a play-action throw to the flat to Bobby Ingram got them halfway to the sticks, and on 3rd and 6, Hasselbeck hit Jackson again on a zig route and stride where he galloped upfield for a huge gain, but a holding call neutralized the play, and they'd have to try again from 3rd and forever. Hasselbeck's throw up the seam bounced right off defender Ike Taylor's hands, almost intercepted, and Pittsburgh would get another shot at it. Parker took the first carry of the drive but went nowhere. On 2nd, they tossed it to him, and he was able to follow blockers forward for 6, and on 3rd and 4, Ben threw a rocket for Hines Ward, but it touched the deck first, and they'd go 3 and out with 4 minutes left in the quarter. Starting from midfield, Alexander took the handoff, hit the gap, and fell forward for 4, before Hasselbeck took a quick drop, hitting Jackson for the 5th time. The speedster worked his way forward inside Pittsburgh's 30 before going down. Hasselbeck pump faked in the pocket next before slinging it out to Joe Juravicius on the comeback for another first down inside the 20. Next play, Hasselbeck bought time in the pocket, sliding left before firing it to a wide-open Darrell Jackson in the end zone, but after the receiver hauled it in, flags were thrown, and it turns out the receiver got separation on a push-off, and the touchdown would be wiped off the board. After getting moved back to the 26, Alexander took a stretch run to the outside, but Pittsburgh's defense was all over it, and the back got almost nothing after spinning and going down. On 2nd and 19, they tried another outside handoff to Alexander, and once again, Pittsburgh's defense folded the edge on him, this time burying him in the backfield, and they'd be left on 3rd and 23, where Hasselbeck lobbed it to the back corner of the end zone for DJ Hackett, who climbed the ladder and got his hands on it but couldn't reel it in. And Seattle would have to try a long field goal attempt, which Josh Brown punched right down the middle to put the first points on the board nearing the end of the first quarter. Roethlisberger tried Cedric Wilson on a quick zig, but the receiver dropped it and was hammered before the ball could hit the ground, and on 2nd, Big Ben gunned it up the seam for Hines Ward, but the defender tipped it first, and Ward took a shot from the safety as he fell to the ground. On 3rd and 10, Roethlisberger stepped through a sack and launched one deep for Nate Washington, but the receiver was tightly covered and couldn't run under it, and Pittsburgh would go 3 and out again, finally in the first quarter. Alexander dove through the gap on 1st down, falling forward for 5, and on 2nd, Hasselbeck flat out missed Bobby Ingram on an out route before rolling out on 3rd and slinging a dot to Juravicius between 3 defenders to get them near midfield. Another carry by Alexander got them 3, and on 2nd down, the back got around the edge to set up 3rd and 2 from the logo, where Hasselbeck dropped one in the hole for Jeremy Stevens, who seemingly had it, but a jarring hit from the safety launched the ball forwards towards the end zone, and it was deemed incomplete by the officials, and Seattle would have to punt it away. Roethlisberger rolled out on 1st, but missed Hines Ward with the throw, before handing it to the bus on 2nd for a short gain of 2, and on 3rd and 8, Ben fired over the middle to Antoine Randall L, who made a tough catch, hauling it in and falling down past the marker. A fake and an end around to Hines Ward on the next play got the receiver absolutely loose, and he galloped to the boundary just shy of the 50 before getting pushed out. Roethlisberger hit the back of his drop before launching down the sideline for Randall L, but it was underthrown, and Michael Bull-Ware came down with it to put a swift end to Pittsburgh's promising drive. Hasselbeck rolled right on 1st, throwing short for Bobby Ingram, who had to come back and get it, getting wrapped up after only 3 yards, before Alexander took another power run up the gut for a dive of 4, and on 3rd and 3, Hasselbeck checked it to his fullback, Max Strong, who was chopped down just inches shy of the marker, and Seattle would have to kick it away, maintaining their 3-point lead. Starting from their own 41, Parker took the first carry of the drive, but was gang tackled after a short gain. On second, they tried him to the opposite side without much more success. On 3rd and 6, Roethlisberger stepped through a collapsing pocket and shuffle passed it to Hines Ward, who juked upfield well past the sticks for a clutch first down. Parker got stuffed again trying to find some running room on 1st, and on 2nd, Roethlisberger lofted one for Cedric Wilson, who hauled it in through contact to get them inside Seattle's 25. Next snap, Ben ripped it to the corner of the end zone for a wide open Hines Ward, but trying to stay in bounds, the ball bounced off his hands, and they'd have to try again on 2nd and 10, where Ben dumped it down to Bettis on a screen, and the back worked forward for a few yards, but the blockers got there too soon, and it resulted in a second offensive pass interference call for the game. On 2nd and 20, Roethlisberger took a deep drop, but Grant Wistrom blew by the left tackle, just smoking Big Ben from his blind side for the sack, leaving them at 3rd and 28, where Roethlisberger avoided a light rush from Seattle, broke the pocket, and set his feet before heaving a YOLO ball to Hines Ward near the goal line that he caught for a miraculous first down conversion. The bus took a dive down the middle next to push forward for a few on 1st, before they'd try him again, but this time he was stuffed. And on 3rd and goal, the Steelers ran a designed QB run with Roethlisberger where he followed Bettis' lead block, diving for the end zone where he barely broke the plane for the first touchdown of the game. Jeff Reed's kick was good, and the Steelers would take a 7-3 lead inside the 2-minute warning. The Seahawks started the drive with a deep shot as Hasselbeck slung it outside for Juravicius, who caught it in front of the defender before going down at the 45, before Hasselbeck checked it to Alexander in the flat, and the back fell forward through contact for 4, and on 2nd down, Hasselbeck stepped into a heater for Ingram, who dove to catch it on the curl to get them to Pittsburgh's 40. Next play, Hasselbeck hit his back foot and launched one down the right sideline for Jackson, who caught it striding to the end zone, but his right foot went out hauling it in. On 2nd down, they handed it to Alexander on a draw, and the back took it forward for a few, and with 13 seconds left, Hasselbeck went deep for Jackson again, this time with the same result. The receiver was led out of bounds by the throw again, and they'd have to settle for 3 at the end of the half, but Josh Brown's kick went right around the upright, and they'd miss a chance to score. Pittsburgh was content to take it to half as they'd get the ball after. Roethlisberger dropped back to start the half, throwing low behind Ward, who couldn't haul it in. On 2nd, Willie Parker slipped through an arm tackle at the line and dashed through the defense, making his way past the secondary and galloping all the way to the house, where he dove into the end zone to celebrate his 75-yard breakaway. With a good kick, the Steelers were now up 11 to start the second half. Seahawks got it back, and Hasselbeck started with a dump off to a covered Sean Alexander, who had it popped free trying to turn upfield for an incomplete pass. On 2nd down, Hasselbeck checked it down again, this time to other running back Maurice Morris, who went out after picking up 6, and on 3rd and manageable, Max Strong followed his pulling guard through the hole on a power run for a good gain and a first down. They tried another stretch run to Alexander, where the back found the edge this time, turning up the sideline and getting another great gain on the ground to get them into Steelers territory. Hasselbeck heaved up the seam for his tight end Jeremy Stevens next, and the ball hit him over the shoulder, perfectly placed, but Stevens juggled it before taking a brutal hit from Troy Polamalu and dropped the ball for another missed opportunity. Alexander juked coming out of the backfield next, picking up 5 running up the gut, and on 3rd and 5, Hasselbeck lofted a fade for Jackson, who couldn't locate the ball and it bounced incomplete. Josh Brown punched another kick, missing to the left this time. The Steelers would take over on their own 40. Ben underthrew Ward on the first down play, but the receiver plucked it off the turf and worked his way out of bounds for a first down in Seattle territory before Bettis cut an inside run to the outside, delivering punishment before somersaulting forward for 6. And on 2nd down, Roethlisberger rolled right but missed Randall L on the sideline. And on 3rd and 4, Hines Ward cooked on the out route and Ben found him past the sticks, and the shifty receiver broke a tackle and worked down inside the 25. The bus galloped through an open hole on first down, stepping over a DB and surging forward while being tackled near the 10-yard line. They gave it to him again, and the big back fell forward for 4 on first down. On 2nd, they tossed it to him, but the Seahawks stuffed him for no gain. And on 3rd and 6, Roethlisberger carelessly just flipped one in the direction of Wilson, but Kelly Herndon undercut the throw, taking it the other way. With Big Ben lumbering down the sideline trying to stop him, the QB was shoved out of the way, and luckily for them, Randall L was able to catch up and make the touchdown-saving stop at the 20-yard line. Seahawks got in the eye, and Alexander ran into the line before reversing field and picking up a few, setting up 2nd and 6. Hasselbeck threw off his back foot up the seam for Bobby Ingram, who forgot to try catching the ball, and it just fell incomplete. On 3rd down, the Seahawks caught the defense sleeping as tight end Jeremy Stevens was wide open on a corner route, and Hasselbeck tossed it to him for the score, cutting Pittsburgh's lead to only 4 deep into the 3rd quarter. Willie Parker bowled forward for a few on 1st before they handed it to him again on 2nd, and the back made a cutback that got him another 3 yards before they handed it to Veron Haynes on 3rd and 4, but he'd come up just short of the line to gain, and the conservative play calling would lead to a punt. Hasselbeck dropped back on 1st, delivering a quick throw to Stevens that hit him in the face, but he dropped dropped it, and a false start backed them up to 2nd and 15, where Hasselbeck tried to rip one down the side to Jurevicius, but it was way overthrown, and the DB was over the top as it fell incomplete. On 3rd and forever, Hasselbeck tried to dump it down to Max Strong underneath, and the fullback turned upfield, crashing into 2 defenders, but fell 2 yards short of the sticks, and they'd also be punting it away to Randall L., who caught the bouncing ball and worked his way down the sideline for a good return. Ben made a dangerous throw in traffic on 1st to his tight end, and was lucky that the ball fell incomplete before breaking the pocket on 2nd down, lowering his shoulder and going out for a good gain of 8. And on 3rd and 2, Roethlisberger pump faked and threw on the run for Ward, but it was way overthrown, and they'd go 3 and out, giving Seattle another chance to take the lead. Pinned deep at their own 2, Shaun Alexander took a dive up the middle on 1st to get out of their end zone, and on 2nd, Hasselbeck took off on the bootleg before sliding down well past the marker for a 1st down. Hasselbeck tossed it out to his other tight end, Hannum, in the flatnecks. The big guy just flopped down for a short gain before making a tight window throw to him on the next play, where Hannum managed to hang onto it past the sticks for another 1st down. Hasselbeck tossed it up the seam to Ingram next, and the speedster dove between 2 defenders at midfield for another big play. Hasselbeck missed Jurevicius high on the next play, and that ended the 3rd quarter. Alexander followed Strong through the gap on 2nd down before going down after a good gain of 5, and on 3rd and 5, the defense just forgot about Ingram in the flat, and the receiver turned upfield, lowering his shoulder into a defender and going down at Pittsburgh's 30. Alexander broke more tackles on the next play, hurtling forward for a few more yards to make it a gain of 6, and on 2nd, they gave it to him again, and the back was tripped up, falling forward for another 1st down inside the 20. Where Hasselbeck fired a heater to Stevens over the middle, and the tight end caught it, falling forwards to the goal line, but the play was neutralized by a holding call, and the offense was backed up to 1st and 20, where Casey Hampton fought through the double team and slung down Hasselbeck, leaving them at 2nd and 25, where Alexander stiff-armed a defender coming out of the backfield, but was brought down by an obvious horse collar tackle by Joey Porter after picking up 7, but it went uncalled. On 3rd and forever, Hasselbeck sailed one up the seam, targeting Jackson, and it flew right to Ike Taylor, who took it the other way before getting cut down by Hasselbeck at the 28. Hasselbeck was actually called for an illegal block below the waist on the play, tacking on another 15 yards, but it seemed like a bad call as Hasselbeck was actually making the tackle, not cutting a blocker, but the call stood, giving Pittsburgh the ball at their own 44, where they'd start with a dive to Parker, who got stuffed. On 2nd, they set up a wide receiver screen for Randall L., who followed the blocks, going out after picking up 7, and on 3rd down, Roethlisberger took it on a QB draw and easily dove forward past the sticks for another 1st down. Next play, Ben tossed it to Parker, who tossed it to Randall L., who rolled out and bombed it down the field to Hines Ward, who scampered into the end zone, and the gadget play paid off. The Steelers widened their lead to 11 once again with less than 9 minutes to go in the game. Hasselbeck dropped back on 1st down, pump faking and just throwing it away before surveying on 2nd and taking off, weaving through defenders and falling forward past the sticks but losing the ball. The Steelers dove on it and it was ruled a fumble on the field, but after further review, Hasselbeck was luckily barely down by contact, and the Hawks would keep the ball for now. Alexander took a dive at the middle for 4 on 1st before Hasselbeck found Jurevicius past the sticks on a curl, and he was able to turn upfield, going out well past the marker at the 50. Hasselbeck tried him again on the next play deep, but overthrew him, and on 2nd they tossed it out to Alexander, but there wasn't much running room, and on 3rd and 8, the corner blitz got to Hasselbeck, blasting him in the backfield for a huge sack, forcing them to punt it from midfield. The bus got stuffed in the backfield on 1st down before he took it, chugging forward for 6 on 2nd, and on 3rd and 6 they set up a screen for Randall L., who pushed forward behind blockers for a 1st down. Bettis took another quick carry and fell forward for 4 on 1st. He tumbled forward again on 2nd to set up 3rd and 3, where Ben faked it to him and scrambled around the edge for another chain-moving run. They spammed Bettis again for another tough 2 before giving it to him again, but this time he ran into a brick wall, and on 3rd and long, he got some forward progress but was well short of the 1st, but they take it to the 2-minute warning before punting back to Seattle. With a minute 51 on the clock, needing a miracle, Hasselbeck hit Stevens with a throw underneath for a quick 6 before Jurevicius worked his way behind the linebackers wide open on a dig, and Hasselbeck hit him in stride. He broke a tackle and spun down inside the 40 with the clock ticking. Hasselbeck threw it away to stop the clock next before throwing it away again in Strong's direction on 2nd, and on 3rd down he stepped into the throw but heaved it over Ingram's head for another incompletion. On 4th and 10, Hasselbeck threw a bullet to Ingram on a curl for the 1st down they crucially needed, and they spiked it to stop the clock with 34 seconds left. Next play, Hasselbeck tried checking it to Alexander, who just dropped it, not wanting the clock to run, and on 3rd and 10, Hasselbeck dumped it to Stevens in the flat, and the tight end was tackled in bounds, setting up 4th and 8 with 10 seconds left, where Hasselbeck threw up the seam Stevens for Stevens again, but he was hammered between 3 defenders, and the ball fell incomplete, turning it over the Steelers with 3 seconds left. Ben took a knee. The game was over. Pittsburgh Steelers recorded their 5th Super Bowl win, tying with Dallas and San Francisco at the time, while skadooshing the Seattle Seahawks in their first ever Super Bowl appearance. Many fans argue that this Super Bowl was fixed in Pittsburgh's favor, but after going through every play, I feel like other than the missed horse collar call on Alexander and the illegal blocking call on Hasselbeck after the interception, the game was called correctly, and while these calls impacted the game, I don't think that the bad calls are indicative of the game being rigged. It's just missed calls. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and click the thumbs up on the video if you liked it. Also, I'd really appreciate if you guys could join my Patreon for early access to new videos. I have exclusive game reactions that I can't post here on YouTube, like my reaction to this year's Super Bowl. Anyways guys, I'm going back in time and making a what the f happened video for every past Super Bowl, and I even have one for this year's Super Bowl, so go and check it out. Peace!